Have you ever had that feeling, like you're stuck in a race you never even signed up for? Well, today we're going to dive into that feeling. We're going to explore this really personal idea of how we measure our own success, our own happiness, and ultimately, how to find the measure of your own light. So let's just start with a really direct question, something to think about right off the bat. Are you running someone else's race? It seems so simple, but wow, the answer can tell you so much about the path you're actually on. And that question leads us right into our first big idea, what I like to call the comparison trap. You know what I'm talking about? It's that constant nagging feeling that you're somehow falling behind in this invisible, endless race against, well, everyone else. Okay, let's picture someone, we'll call her Maya. Maya is constantly looking at her friend, who just seems to have it all figured out. On one side, you have Maya's path. She's feeling lost, it's full of struggle, and the future is just a big question mark. But then she looks over at her friend's path, and what does she see? It looks successful, it seems effortless, it's just lined with one clear achievement after another. And by constantly measuring herself against that image, she just feels completely, totally inferior. And this is so crucial. Judging ourselves by the wrong standards is basically a guaranteed recipe for unhappiness. This quote just nails it, right? A fish isn't a failure because it can't fly. Of course not. It was made for the water. But we do this to ourselves. We make ourselves feel like failures when we're trying to live up to a nature that just isn't our own. So Maya's feeling completely lost. She goes to visit her wise grandfather, Grandpa Joe, and he doesn't sit her down for some big lecture. Nope. Instead, he just takes her for a walk. And that's what brings us to our next part, a lesson in the forest. This is all about a major shift in perspective. So they're walking deep among the trees, getting away from all the noise and the pressure, and then Grandpa Joe says just one single word. Stop. He just wants her to pause, to completely halt that frantic mental race she's been running inside her own head. And what's his next instruction? Look. And he doesn't mean look at her phone or at her friend's social media. He means look at the world that's right there in front of her. To just observe the quiet, steady rhythm of the forest. And finally, he tells her to listen to the sounds of nature, sure, but also to listen to herself, away from that deafening roar of comparison. And it's right here, in this moment of stillness, that the real lesson finally starts to sink in. And this is the absolute core idea of what we're talking about today, the value of being you. Grandpa Joe uses this entire forest to teach a simple but really profound truth. Every single tree has its own purpose. So Grandpa Joe points to two totally different trees. He says, look, an apple tree, it thrives in cool weather, gives us fruit in the fall. And a coconut tree, it flourishes in the heat, giving us water all year long. Then he asks Maya, does the apple tree feel like a failure because it can't grow coconuts? And the answer's obvious, right? Of course not. Each one has its own environment, its own timing, and its own unique gift to share with the world. And that right there is the perfect definition of what we mean by a unique path. It's a journey that's not defined by whether you're better or worse than somebody else. It's defined by being true to your own nature, fulfilling your own purpose, and doing it all on your own timeline. This all leads us to our final and maybe most powerful idea. Finding your own light. It's about taking that incredible lesson from the forest and really getting it, that when and how you shine is completely and beautifully unique to you. Grandpa Joe leaves Maya with one last incredible image to think about, the sun and the moon. I mean, think about it. They don't compete with each other. The sun rules the day with all its fiery energy, and the moon, it owns the night with its calm, reflective glow. They have different jobs, different strengths, and they both shine brightly when it's their time. One isn't better than the other. They're both absolutely essential. So let's wrap this all up. If you take anything away from this, let it be these three things. First, your journey has its own timing, so don't panic if your season hasn't arrived yet. Second, your value is absolute. It is not based on how you stack up against anyone else. And third, your purpose is uniquely yours to fulfill. Nobody else on this planet can do what you're here to do. And that brings me to the final thought I really want to leave you with today. Instead of constantly measuring your path against somebody else's, try asking yourself a completely different question. What is the measure of your light? What's your unique gift, your purpose, your time to shine?